Presenting a video of assessment of visual potential in children with cerebral visual impairment. Visual stimulus contributes immensely in sensory motor development of a child. In a child with cerebral visual impairment, assessing the visual status is of paramount importance not only in deciding the future management plan but in knowing the ultimate development outcome in these children. Visual assessment includes visual status, binocularity, and visual fields. However, it is challenging to assess all these visual functions clinically in a child with cerebral visual impairment, and hence this present video will show you various clinical tests and behavioral clues which will provide important information as regards the visual functions in these children. Uh, this is a child, 8-month-old child with esotropia. I'm just showing a video of the resistance to occlusion. You can see that he is trying to resist occlusion in either eye, which probably indicates that the visual status in both eyes is equal. Another way of assessing vision in children with cerebral visual impairment is central steady and maintained fixation. In this patient, he has a left face turn and a left exotropia. The moment we close the right eye, he shows unsteady fixation in the left eye, and also it is not maintained. So it is central unsteady and unmaintained fixation in the left eye, and central steady and maintained fixation in the right eye, which probably indicates that the vision in the left eye is less than that in the right eye. She is a child of 13 years old with a left exotropia. The initial assessment shows that the vision is probably less in the left eye compared to the right eye. She also has a latent nystagmus, so the visual status can be known that way. And now we are checking the confrontation field. This can be used for children, extremely small children, as well as children with cerebral visual impairment. The child is asked to look straight, and we move the objects from all positions of gaze, the superior, inferior and lateral gaze. The moment the child looks at the moving object, that is the part of the visual field from where the child is able to perceive. We have to compare this with our own visual field. Now we are checking the depth perception and spatial orientation of this child by placing the uh, tip of the pen and asking the child to touch that tip in different positions in the space. In spite of having the squint, the child might have monocular clues, which probably indicates the amount of depth perception the child might have. Now we are checking the ocular motility, which is actually a motor part of examination. These are the MRI images of the same patient. The axial flare sequence shows periventricular white matter loss, which indicates loss of the optic radiations part of the visual pathway. The same part as shown on sagittal section indicates the loss or volume loss of posterior body and the splenium of corpus callosum. This indicates poor visual outcome in these children. This is a video of a child over time. She is a 1-year-old girl with poor neck holding, and as you can see, she is trying to fixate at the source of light at the roof with a nystagmoid movement, which indicates poor vision in the child. The same patient, when she was examined after 2 years, now the neck holding has improved, but I mean still the patient has got nystagmoid movement. The fixation also has improved. The child is able to follow the moving objects, but it also indicates that the visual outcome may not be good. The MRI images of the same patient on T1 weighted image axial scan shows periventricular white matter damage with dilated ventricles, which happens because of loss of the optic radiations in the periventricular area. This is also clearly seen as a ventriculomegaly in T2 weighted image. Some other MRI findings which are seen in children with cerebral visual impairment are hypoxic damage at the occipital cortex and dilated lateral ventricle and loss of the white matter in peritrigonal area. Both these features indicate poor visual outcome. Another important test for children in cerebral visual impairment for visual assessment is visual evoked potential. Electrodes are placed in the parietal area, frontal area, and the occipital area, and a visual stimulus is given to the eye one by one. And the aim is to find out the conduction of this visual stimulus to the occipital cortex. It provides information regarding the conductance of the visual stimulus through the visual pathway and also at the occipital cortex. Though pattern VEP provides more information compared to flash VEP, availability wise, a flash VEP is easier to access and is available at most of the places where electroencephalogram is done. The aim is to find out uh, a positive wave at 100th millisecond after the visual stimulus. The test is done one by one. It can be done under general anesthesia for small children or uncooperative children. Though it does not have prognostic value, it provides information regarding the visual conductance and well-being of the visual pathway and the occipital cortex. So for children with cerebral visual impairment, behavioral clues and fixation pattern provide important information for the visual status. Presence of seizures or poor neck holding are usually associated with delayed visual development and poor visual outcome. A thorough clinical assessment which is done in a short time can provide a lot of information in assessing the visual functions, and visual evoked potential is helpful in knowing the presence or absence of visual conductance from eye to the visual cortex, but it does not have a prognostic value. As far as MRI is concerned, findings like ventriculomegaly or loss of the posterior body of splenium and of the corpus callosum indicates poor visual outcome.